Hi there. This is Michael Mirdad here, and it's time for our Spiritual Insights, Friday Night Spiritual Insights with Michael Mirdad. Thank you for joining us. And what we're talking about now, it's magic. The real magic and the fake magic of life. There's all kinds of variations, mind you, but real magic means that there's a supernatural power involved. Fake magic would mean no, it's sleight of hand. It can be the fake magic can still be of two sides. Fake magic can have an appeal, like to audiences and to children, and it wow and wonder. It's beautiful because it's like surprise, so it's kind of fun. The call it human magic so that it doesn't sound like condescending to call it fake magic. It's a human level of magic, but not necessarily supernatural. And the lower aspect of the human version of magic is really something that's happening more in the psyche, where it's very similar to the other kind I just mentioned, the sleight of hand type, that can be fun and so forth, but it's all the intention. See, so if I do sleight of hand with, let's say, playing cards, and I don't know those tricks and all that, but if I did a trick, I'm happy that I'm doing it and I love doing it. Then you go, wow, and it makes you laugh and excited, and that is the positive side of human magic. The negative side of human magic is when there's hurtfulness involved. Well, how could hurtfulness be involved with a card trick or a rabbit from a hat or whatever the case may be? Well, there is, because this is, kind of a deep thing. It's going to be funny and awkward to weave together magician magic and spiritual magic and the lower aspect of human magic all together, but we're going to give it a shot. So the lower aspect would be where someone is saying, I'm ill and I need to do something to heal. Someone sells you a pill, a doctor or whatever it is, sells you a pill. Sneeze. I need a pill for that. No. Thank you for the blessing. So you say, well, I have a headache, I need a pill. A doctor says, okay, here's this pill. A Course in Miracles refers to that as a negative, false form of magic, because it's using the word magic because it's playing off of the magician magic, but showing you the negative spin. And that is, you've been made to believe that I pulled a rabbit from a hat, that the rabbit was in there, and and so on, and it wasn't there 1 minute because I showed you the inside of that. The next minute it appeared magically. That's kind of fun. But when it comes to people's minds and their health, and you're pretending to pull a rabbit from a hat because you make them think the pill cured their headache, it didn't. It didn't. It was a trick, just like a magic trick, except it's for negative. When someone says, I am going to love you forever, and they don't, that's one of those, I made you feel better, like the doctor with the pill. I made you feel better. You made me feel better. We're going to be in this together. Wow, we're going to do this forever. And we don't. We tricked each other. I know it's not been intentional for most people, but it happens. We are made to think that anything in this world can give us anything. That's negative magic. And what people call black magic, for example, all it is a more extreme version of that. Because I say, I'm going to put a curse on you, instead of, I'm going to put a spell on you, baby, and you're going to fall in love with me. Instead, I curse. And the word curse is coming from the same root as, it's like I'm pronouncing something, so I'm like when I'm cussing at someone, we even call it cursing, because it means I'm causing something. Now, if you have a weak mind, and I can make you believe, and the weak mind is not always a consciously weak person. It could be a very strong person and still be tricked, so to speak. So I act like I put a negative version of a spell on you, and because I don't like you, and I'm putting the evil eye kind of thing. But the part of you that doubts yourself, the part of you that has low self-worth or whatever the case may be, it succumbs to that. You've allowed it. I've caused you to think, feel, act a certain way, like putting a spell or a hypnosis on someone. So that's the negative, like the worst, the negative, but it's all the same. It's actually all the same. My ability to cause you something in the negative, a curse, to cause you something when I say this pill will fix you, or in a relationship with me and you're gonna, feel loved and we're gonna hang out together and whatever. We're meant to be, and and all the magic feelings of all that. It's like, wow, but I'm tricking you. I'm putting a spell on you, not on purpose most of the time. Most people are not conscious about anything, let alone this. But it still is a curse. It is still a negative form of magic, because I think you have something I need. Oh, please, please give it to me. You give it to me. Oh, I feel so much better. But it wears off, just like the aspirin. And that's negative magic. And of course, Miracles calls it magic because it's saying, you guys actually think anything here has value. We're not telling you it doesn't have value. We're telling you it doesn't even exist. Therefore, how could it have value? See, it's not cursing the world and the stuff of the world. It's not making bad the stuff of the world. It's saying, you guys have set aside your power so thoroughly that you now think you need anything and everything to help make your life more complete. When you're sick, which is fake, you think you need an aspirin. When you're lonely, which is fake, you think you need another person. How could you be alone? You're one with the universe, but you don't know that. So you forego the knowledge, the knowingness, the reality that you're one with all, to live little and go, I'm so lonely. And then someone will fill me. And if they don't, I am cursed, caused to be sad. You see? So it's like a weird magic. And in its most extreme, we call it black magic, but it's all the same magic because something seems to have power. So if somebody says, oh, I got this curse, can you get this curse off me? Well, not as long as you believe that you deserve it in some way, which a lot of people don't even know that they have such thoughts. So becoming responsible is key for us clearing such things, spells, curses, etc. But I'm also talking about that. That's only extreme stuff. That I'm talking about even just the feelings of codependence and addiction. Wow, I got home from work. I can't even relax without my drink when I get home. I don't know what the heck people drink, but what was it in the 60s? Martinis. I don't know if they still do that, but whatever a person, they need to knock something down to go decompress. A lot of people have told me that. I mean, people, friends, and I come home and have a little wine because it helps me decompress. Technically, it does not help you decompress. It seems to, just like there seems to be no rabbit in the hat, and then voila, rabbit in the hat. How did that happen? The wine seems to. Why? And this is heavy stuff, man. Why? Because I am so out of touch with my divinity and power, pretty much anything will do. Kind of like when someone says, I was so desperate, I went out with somebody, and that I wasn't really attracted to, but I was desperate. I took a job. I lived in a town that I didn't want to live in because I was desperate. Desperation isn't a good state of mind. But it is a mind that tells us of a person who desperately forgot who they were. Intensely forgot who they were, thoroughly forgot who they were. Therefore, they are susceptible to just about anything will do. I need a drink, I need a pill, I need a this, I need a that, and anything will do. So you're now essentially a victim of a global vaudeville show, the false form of magic. A negative form of magic, but negative in the sense that it's lying to you. It's feeding off of your weakness. Now, there's another form of magic that starts bridging over to positive magic. Positive magic doesn't just mean white magic, but it includes that. And I'm not trying to give a talk on white and black magic. I'm talking about consciousness here. But it starts to go into white magic because white magic is kind of like saying, well, I know that we're all asleep to some degree, but I want to use magic that actually educates and teaches people to wake up. Not plays off of their ignorance, makes them think I did something that I really couldn't do. I'm just tricking them. But I want to do things, even if it's sleight of hand with cards, I want to use it to evoke wonderment. And it's right, because even in this form of magic, that's almost at that point too, but it's still a little over here playing off of ignorance and fear. So we just get to the middle, and now we start moving into, I really want to evoke wonderment. And I've seen people like our very own, Roger Blakiston, and also, I could name probably 3 magicians I've met. J. Scott Barry is another one. But I could name a few in all of my life that I've seen really, truly getting the spiritual intention part of it. Not just like, I'm good and people, popular and charisma and money and fame, and that's all out there. That doesn't mean they're on the proper side of this by any means. Most of them are not. There's some really, weird and really ego-based magicians over here. Some of them really are going into dark stuff and people don't even realize it, but it's all still playing off of the I don't know who I am, so impress me. Over here, there's something else. It's kind of like when you learn something like sacred sexuality. There's sacred sexuality, which is I am going to wow you with things that I can do to you or for you, your body. You're a body and I will do something. See, that's still on this side of the line. There's a difference between sensations, because technically sensations are an illusion. So how would it be at all good for me to stimulate your senses in any way if we were engaged in some sort of intimate thing? Well, it's not really healthy, because now I'm stimulating your body, making you more body identified, which is an illusion. However, we could do the very same thing, but the intention of, I want not to stimulate your senses so that you think more and more, identify more and more with being a body. What we're going to do is play with the senses so that I can bring you out. See, I want to bring you out. I want to get you to awaken, not to your senses, but you, the person, the soul. When you work with somebody who's got some sort of entity oppressing them, or demonic possession, there are such things. They're all on this side of the mountain here, the hill here, the bridge here. One of the things you want to learn to do is grab the soul of the person and bring it forward. It helps if you can get them to make a choice and say, come on out. And this other stuff tries to get in the way. Excuse me, I didn't ask you. Get out of the way. Get behind me, Satan. That kind of attitude. I'm talking to the soul of this person. Come here. You kind of evoke that. See? And it's similar with the intimate, and it's also similar with magic. So there are magicians that evoke that. They have the ability to, wow, I performed weddings. I don't do many weddings at all in my life, ever. But on rare occasion I have. And one time it was just a beautiful soul. I knew she was a student and so forth here and there. And she said, would you be kind enough to marry my husband and I? And he's a football player. This is, I think, this is around the time they went to the Super Bowl, the team. And I said, okay, I'll do that. So the point of the story, though, is that I remember during the reception they had hired a magician to walk around. Now here you have these big guys, man, everywhere, at all the tables. I mean, they're giant. They really are big guys. I mean, they're framed. They're just giant. Even when they move on the field, they move. But that's because they warm up, limber up, some of them drug up to be able to move the way they move, believe it or not. Many of them can't move like that just day to day. So these guys, I mean, they sit in the chair, they have to, get up, they're in pain, aches and tight muscles and all kinds of issues. But the size, too, slows them down. And so seeing these dense kinds of guys, I mean, they're used to warrior mentality. They do try to sometimes hurt each other. And, it's a really intense kind of gladiator kind of world. And watching these guys, they were like children with a guy doing card tricks. Just boom, 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 now pick one, blah, 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 and now it's blah, blah, blah. And, I mean, these guys were like, pretty soon, at one table, there's like 4 guys, 5 guys, 6 guys. And then pretty soon, a few more. Then, now they're like 3 deep in circle watching this guy at the table. And I just stood back and, just watched, just in wonderment, like how funny, how beautiful. Because he wasn't messing with their minds and trying to make a buck. He was in touch with, there was a wonderment is the word. And if you're a really strict Course in Miracles student, the word magic would turn you off because he's talking about the negative context. He's saying, the magic of things seeming like they have power and they don't. The rabbit from a hat, someone making you feel loved, someone making you think they're in charge of your finances and whether they give you a raise or not, someone making you feel better self-esteem at work. Those are all illusions. Therefore, he's using the analogy of magic. So that's how they would interpret that. But I'm talking about another kind, the wonderment. Technically, you could say miracles are a form of magic. And they are. Because they're working in the world of illusion, except they're doing something supernatural and for a positive goal. Someone's in pain, suddenly, boom, the rabbit from a hat isn't a false thing making you think it has power. It's the only real thing, love, which can be attained, a greater level of love, and then a miracle, of course, through forgiveness. So really, the magic formula to a miracle is really forgiveness. The formula to the greatest magic you'll feel on earth, love and forgiveness. I wrote a book called The Book of Love and Forgiveness. It's worth checking out because in there's explanation of what is love, what is forgiveness, but also the techniques, just a handful of techniques that are perfect, they're easy, and they work. But they're the formula for magic. So the rabbit from a hat, the thing where you go, whoa, wow, and all these guys, the football players are like, what? Check this out, dude. There are more guys gathering. It's like, wow, how amazing that something so fun and so loved by the magician himself could bring that love in the form of a positive form of excitement and playfulness and childlike consciousness to all these brutes, It was really something. And so on that note, we keep moving further and further over the line where you could say a positive version of magic, magician magic, and even into white magic, where you are actually using the stuff of this world, of the cosmos, earthly energies, heavenly energies, angels, and all kinds of things that start to become celestial to create magical kinds of outcomes. And some of us feel that. Some of you can hear me and feel when I talk about that. You remember it. You remember the days because there were days where that was more present on earth. It's a sad thing that it ever went away. However, even that isn't all the way home. So we needed to lose some of the wonderment towards even white magic because it was still of the earth to a degree. The ultimate is invisible love that becomes visible. That's the real magic. That's the as close to God magic as you can get. It is a form of magic when someone says, sleight of hand, rabbit from a hat, I was dead and they resuscitated me. See? Empty, rabbit. They're dead, now they're alive. And the person comes back and says, oh my God, I saw loved ones, deceased loved ones, and I saw this and an angel came to me and I talked to this person and all kinds of amazing magical things. And they are magical in the beautiful sense. God magic, light magic, love magic. And we really never needed to lose that, but we chose to. And one of the lessons from it is because we were still believing of just a limited form of magic. There was one more level to go, still, one major level with sub-levels to it. The one more level was that Christ is the ultimate magic. The Christ in you is as great a rabbit you can pull from a hat as is anything else you can imagine. Pull the light, the presence of God within yourself, bring that out, and you can perform miracles. And it's an odd thing to kind of be part of. I think everybody watching and everybody on the planet has had at least one miracle in their life, but most don't realize it because, again, unconscious. And that too is a bummer, because the more conscious you are that you've experienced a miracle, the more they will multiply. The magic then multiplies. More and more beautiful, movements of hand and magical things kind of happen. I personally would say having a childlike mind to a degree is, I think, really, for me, it's a savings race, but I think it's for everybody. I don't think it was just for me, or that it's only my belief. I believe that this is true for everybody, that the childlike mind that Jesus said, you must become as children to enter the kingdom, kind of like saying you must be like children to perform magic. And I believe that's true. Magic could be poetry you write that makes somebody smile when they read it, or wow, or a song you've written. Magic can be in words, it could be in thoughts. Magic can be in so many different forms, and sometimes more blatant, cool-looking miracles. But what's the difference? If it's a miracle, it's a miracle. Whether the miracle was your song lyrics lifted my spirits, or if it was that you did some powerful healing Reiki on me, it's all the same, man. It's all the light of God being pulled in, drawn in, and anchored here so that we can perform that miracle, have that magical experience. So yes, I mean, when you go to the other side and see loved ones and angels and perhaps fairies and dimensional things and colors, oh my God, some people really get how vivid the colors can be. It is a magical experience to have that peek through the veil to go, whoa, it's not that you're seeing the highest of heavens, but you are seeing higher dimensions. And just about any dimension you can imagine is more magical looking than the third dimension. The third dimension is a place to experience what limitation would be like. It's kind of like the densest. In a way, you could say it's the densest that people could know. It's all about stuckness and no magic, hopelessness, despair. It's like many fairy tales, and like if you look at Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, or The Adventures of Narnia, C.S. Lewis, how Narnia was a magical place, but when the ego plants itself, it takes everything away. It freezes everything. Nobody's allowed to feel warmth and magic. And if they were, they would be attacked and frozen by her, killed by her. So lifeless. So everybody really just drags around somewhat lifeless, listless and hopeless. It's despair. Now, the world is that place, Narnia, after it's been frozen by the ego, taken over by the ego, made hopeless. Now, some of you would say, well, not at all. We have some good and some not so good. Actually, you only have good that's a reprieve so that you're not as suspicious about how much this place sucks. It's true. If you knew heaven, you would have no way to measure this place to heaven. If you knew the magic of higher consciousness, you wouldn't defend and fight so much to prove that this place is wonderful. I know, guys, there's rainbows and green trees and bunny rabbits. I know all that. All of them die. So that's not the ultimate magic. All we're seeing is kind of like the magic reflected onto a mirror. It's just a reflection of it, and the mirror has smudges on it. So we can't even really see it as vividly as we could if our minds, our third eye was open and our consciousness was fully present. I'm talking about spiritual consciousness, not altered states through drugs or whatever. Spiritual consciousness. And so I'm not saying that I'm cursing the place or making it like it's bad. I'm saying that it's a reflection of fallen consciousness. So it isn't the place that's bad. I use figures of speech and say, this place is, terrible or whatever. But I'm aware that it is simply a manifestation of our consciousness. So really, our consciousness suffers. We think we're separate from love, therefore we're in pain. Therefore, the mirror that we hold, what does the mirror do? It reflects. The mirror I'm holding reflects my consciousness. And so some of us recognize that, know that more than others. And for some people, they look in the mirror and they say, I can just see there's a fog and it's getting denser and denser, and pretty soon I can't see any hope. And my mirror is just now covered over, just black with dense, dense despair clouds. Some of those people take their own lives because it seems so hopeless. But if that's all they know is the mirror they're looking at, and all of us on some level know that we're looking in a mirror ever so darkly, unfortunately. So we're looking in this mirror, and yeah, it gets the best of us, especially when there's nobody to tell them what they're looking at. Why is life so dark? Oh, it isn't. It isn't, huh? Because what I'm looking at is pretty dark. Oh, you know what you need is a pill. Okay, took the pill, more dark clouds came in. This, I'm losing my mind, and you become anxious, and you have to go because you can't take it. I understand it. I do. I mean, we should all be able to understand how the person feels that way. That doesn't mean that that choice was the only choice. But what I'm saying is, it's a shame that the ignorance of this world, the officials of this world, the leaders of this world, the politics and the medicine, all these people, and even average human beings, mind you, mislead these people because they have no answers. Because the only answer would be light that would beam through those dark clouds. But you're not allowed to talk light when you're divvying out the drugs. You're not allowed to talk too much light when you're in the politics and you're voting to not do this and to do that. Everybody's got their hand in everybody's pot, and they're messing around with all this and messing with people's minds. Because they are out of control. They have no way to help other people that feel out of control. My life feels out of control because the world's out of control. And what do you think? The world that's out of control is going to try to help you? They don't even have a life raft. They're sinking. That's why they get more desperate and do more of what they do. It's all fear. Now that might sound like quite a speech there of despair, but it isn't. It's one to make us go, okay, hold it. That might make sense. What he just said, I don't like it, but it might make sense. So, does he have any alternative? Yeah, God. That's all. God. In what way? A Bible thumper, a preaching all the time to people and fearing people about God? No, just find your life raft. Find your sacred material, your book, your readings, whatever you do that helps lift your spirits. Create some magic in your life. Things that kind of make you smile when you look at them. Anything. I've said before, as a kid, man, not a great childhood, but songs. Really, I could sit there in my room, because I was always in my room, and I would have headphones on. Always sent to my room and whatever, and on restriction. But man, found certain songs, put on the headphones and listen. And it's like, wow, this is like light speaking to me. Now, if I could find it in rock music, pop music, songs, how could you not find it when you're reading Jesus Calling, which is a beautiful inspirational book? Last week, we did a presentation, our Friday night presentation, and it was about where do we go from here? It's kind of like what teachers and teachings do we want to listen to or pursue? Some of you missed it because prior to it, I did kind of a quick holiday greeting because it's when I had a little bit of a holiday party. And so some of you thought that was the presentation for Friday, and it wasn't. So please go back and watch the other if you can. It was a great one, but it's sort of bridging off to today, I guess. So where do we go from here? Jesus Calling or A Course in Miracles or meditation. And, don't become religious about it. Like if you're, let's say, Jewish, and yet I'm talking about a meditation, you think that's for Buddhists and I'm not allowed. It doesn't matter what religion you think you are. Just apply these things as though they're just healthy workouts. Don't make them anti your religion. Just make them something healthy. Like going to a counselor. You don't have to say yes or no to that based on a religion, although even then some religions would tell you that's wrong. But man, oh man, do what helps you. Do what's healthy. Do it, whatever expands your love, your heart quotient, your consciousness in a good, healthy way. So reach out and you'll find that the fog will clear. Some people get so far into the fog, it will feel hopeless. And what I do when moments are really heavy like that, I literally acknowledge that for all intents and purposes, I can't imagine in this moment to feel light, let's say, just as an example. And then I use that as a way to say, I'm just going to be honest. That's how I feel. You say to yourself, but I'm just going to throw it out there, and see if I can feel a shift. And even if you don't feel a shift, you do the thoughts, you do the words, you do the prayer, you do the decree, the affirmation, whatever works for you. One of my favorites in A Course in Miracles is when he describes imagining that you're trying to reach out to heaven, and there are some dense, once again using the metaphor of clouds, there are these dense clouds separating you from heaven, and yet light of God is on the other side of those clouds, yet as you try to get to it, the clouds are sort of pressing back. And he says, but just imagine, keep going, keep going. And inside you're going to think, but I can't because the clouds. You just keep going and vividly try to feel like you can feel the moisture of the cumulus, the cloud, just brushing over your cheeks, your face as you're moving forward. And he says, and at some point when you're ready, reach out, reach forward in your mind or physically if you'd like. Reach forward, he says, and I will literally reach back from heaven and grab your hand and pull you through. Even if you're in a state of despair, just imagine that it happened. And then breathe as though you're on the other side of that cloud. And then when you're ready, you come back. Fine, I'm back in the room. Now, I don't know if I felt anything, and I don't know if that was real. Your head, does that. That's okay. What I'm going to commit to is, I'm going to commit to saying, but even if it was real 1%, I shifted the power that cloud seemed to have by at least 1%. Plant that seed, man. Plant that seed so that you are not paralyzed by this stuff, made immobilized by this stuff. You're getting somewhere. And if it's a drop in the bucket, drop at a time, the bucket will eventually fill up, become a pond, become a lake, become an ocean, become the universe. It might be a day at a time. Yeah, I'm going to try that. And then a year from now you go, well, I feel better by about 20%, but man, it's only 20%. And that's pretty dang good if you think about it. Yeah, but I just wish it were more. Well, I would have to say to you, sorry, but we are all different. I would love to have felt such and such, the same as another guy who was meditating, and I didn't get it as quickly as him. I also wish I had that person's prosperity. I also wish I had their temperament, and you can do that forever. It's not going to get you anywhere. You are who you are, where you are, how you are, and it's all based on a past that isn't existent anymore. It only seems to exist. So there's no good purpose, reason to let the ghosts of the past haunt you and keep you from becoming something wonderful today. So keep that in mind. There's good. There is only good. And we need to access that. So when people talk about white magic, black magic, all those kinds of things, everybody that's perpetuating that there's a power outside of you is a form of black magic in a sense. It's not as spooky as some of the movies show you, but it's still part of the illusion, therefore it's not great. And therefore it's pain related, fear related, etc. But there's another kind of magic, it's love related. It gives people hope. It gives them wonderment, it gives them magic in a good sense, and it gives them like the wow and the excitement and so on and so on. And people, humans twist everything. You can have the lightest, brightest form of magic, and humans will twist it. They'll put veils of garbage on it, almost like just some sort of toxic material of human fear-based consciousness. And they turn it into something other, it turned into something dark, something mischievous, and so on. But the light of God shines upon me. It loves me. It surrounds me. It empowers me. It protects me. It's everything I truly choose to be. And now you're this beautiful wizardess or wizard of sorts, walking the world. And it's true that the world will honor you, yet not egotistically or arrogantly, but the world will say, wow, even the particles of the world, the quantum particles will, and they always do, respond to the beholder. So when you walk into the world as a wizard of any, light version, the world, it says, wow, and they're awake, and the particles respond to you. Food turns to nutritious food, even if it's flat in terms of nutritional value. It turns to light. Everything, hand holding, looking in someone's eyes, telling people that they're going to get through something. They can feel it, but so can the particles. And so all kinds of magic happens. Sometimes it's hard to keep that, even if you get a glimpse of it. It's like, oh God, I lost it a little because something happened, Then just try to bounce back by surrounding yourself with magic, doing good things, creating good karma. It'll carry you through more easily times when you're a little bit off and not feeling it. And don't think, I don't want to have any of those off times, because there's going to be a day, because that's part of your strengthening your faith, when you have some of those moments where, where's my good karma? Where's my magic? How are you handling it when you don't feel it? That is also a test. And if you can get through that kind of without sweating it too much, you're going to create even another level of consciousness where you've gone to another level of initiation as a magician. Okay? So it's quite beautiful. I love all that. I love the positive magic of life. I love the hand of God working wonderfully and miraculously in people's lives. There's one area that still was a challenge in my life, and that is when I live this, more and more and more, there are times when people really loved it and they were gravitating towards me because they could see that. But there's also times when people, even friends, became jealous of it or looking to fault find and try to make it not so magical, try to, downplay it or humanize it. And when that happened here and there in my life, there are times when I too lost the magic in a sense, because the love that was helping to feed my being, making me enjoy working miracles and doing magic, and it was all kinds that I won't even go into because I don't try to impress that way, but all kinds of really amazing things. And I've heard other people have had things like this, in their life here and there. But to do that, and then go, well, what's the point? If things can't be solid in our lives and friendships or trust and faith and of students and all that. But that too became a test, because I also realized now I have to decide in my life, do you want to keep doing the magic only if you have a partnership, or your children love you, or your friends think you're the coolest, or whatever, you're getting a raise at work, as long as things go your way. And that was a nice test that I had hit at some point, because I started going, the magic I'm living is fantastic. And then, wow, the friendships become almost the vessel holding the magic, but they weren't supposed to. It's normal, it's natural to do that. But the test is, we'll take away the vessel and see if you can hold it on your own. Whoa, okay. And that was layers of letting myself, being let down and hurting in some ways, but also in ascending, rising back up into the magic again and becoming the magic. And having gone through all those cycles in my life at different periods of a few times and all that, I know that the magic has to be felt inside. I'm still, to this day, a little gun-shy, a little shell-shocked from some of the experiences in life, but a little gun-shy because the magic can be so easily misinterpreted. It can be so sometimes just stomped on, and shamed, that it's sometimes hard to hold it anymore. But I'm determined, so I still just keep coming out, expanding consciousness and unfolding and unfolding and unfolding, and that will probably never change again. There's still moments of a step backwards, but it's 3 steps forward again and again. So it's amazing. And there's one more major level of a test that will be coming in my way in the near future, that will help sort of demonstrate another level of magic in life and mystery and consciousness. I already feel like I've passed the test, so to speak, but I know I can see, hear, feel that there's another wave of something, and I already feel like I'm done through it and past. So I'm already kind of experiencing the magic and excitement of it, even though it's nowhere near me yet. I can still see it and feel it. So I say a lot, and people quote me a lot if they're close enough to me. They hear me say, onwards and upwards, so that's it. We go, man. We go up, onwards and upwards. Try not to look back in any way, shape, or form. That's a good metaphor. Back means the past. The front means forward. So try not to look back like the proverbial Lot's wife when they left Sodom and Gomorrah. Your old life and the black magic, a place of dark magic, Sodom and Gomorrah. And it was, demolished in ways that I won't go into, but it was destroyed, just one flash. And Lot was told, don't look back. Tell your family members, do not look back. And one of the members looks back and is killed. That's an important literal and metaphoric story for us. You want a new life? Part of your new life is going to be determined. The quality, the quantity of your new life, all of it, is going to partly be determined by if you look back or not. How much regret, because looking back means regret, but it also means fear. Oh, I can't do without that. Attachment, fear, regret, those are the things why we look back. Those are the things that symbolize looking back. So if you're going to look back, it will take away 1%, up to 100% of your new life. So think about the wonderment. Surrender to the magic of God, the magic of love, the magic of forgiveness, and then the magic of miracles. Miracles can do anything. Heal people, raise them from the dead. It can do anything. It can increase, improve prosperity, improve relationships, and so forth. Like I said when I was sharing a moment ago, one of the tricky challenges is not everybody in the world understands this form of magic. They do get jealous. They do get envious. They do get almost agitated if they see your life looking too magical. So I'm not going to say apologize for having a magical life, but be careful and discern. Don't cast pearls before swine, because you'll lose even your best friends if they see that you are quite magical. And remember that you're ultimately, your greatest magical consciousness comes from seeing magic in others, not seeing yourself as more magical than them, but really wishing it for them. That's the magician. Wave the wand, which is your heart and soul and your consciousness, saying, magic to you, man, love to you, peace to you, healing to you. Let no one hold a hateful place in your heart. That's the great magician. Thank you. Closing couple of things before you all take off. Remember that currently, if you see this, we're currently doing the 12 holy days and nights of Christmas. This is a magical 12, a lot of people don't know about it, but I've been teaching about it for years. But there's an ancient custom that mystics followed, which is that Christmas is only one piece of it. Really, it's 12 days of Christmas, 12 holy days and nights of Christmas. And each one of those is associated with a different, not only sign of the zodiac, but also with a different month. So for the next 12 days, starting Christmas Day, you're actually setting the stage for the 12 months of this next year. So that's a really cool connection, magically speaking. You also can join us for New Year's. We're doing our burning bowl ceremony, of course, which is a good magical ritual to say goodbye. This is kind of cool because I didn't consciously see all this, but I just talked about the magic of life, and then I'm realizing there's kind of all these really cool magical ceremonies we're doing. So Yeah, so New Year's, burning bowl ceremony plus the talk itself, which is about starting a new life. I always talk about New Year, so starting a new year and a new life. In January, we're going to do a 1 day instead of a 4 week. We're going to do a 1 day intensive on co-creating, consciously co-creating a new life. So you're invited to join us, sign up for that if you can. Last but not least, I have a 1 year Course in Spiritual Awakening course coming on. It's going to be every week for the entire year. To some degree, because we're going to use A Course in Miracles as one of our foundation pieces, the primary foundation piece, we're going to also do 365 workbook lessons. I'll read them for you and teach a little bit about them while we're doing this. So you can join us for that course. It's only about $100 a month, I think, thereabouts. It's a little less if you pay for the whole year in advance, but it's a 1 year course. It's quite a commitment for me, for you, for all of us. But it seems like we're all ready for taking things to such another level, a quantum shift in consciousness. So it's time. So we're going to do it. Alrighty. So join me, join us if you can, and we'll go from there. If you have questions, let us know. You can email if you have questions or more about the courses. You can also look online. My website should have some pieces of material to learn more about them. And also, if you'd like to become a sponsor of my ministry, I would lovingly appreciate it. Very gratefully appreciate it. It's basically, you can go to the website, the Foundation for Christ Consciousness. You can do a one-time donation or a monthly donation. It could be $10 or $10 billion, whatever a person's got that they would like to share. That would be beautiful. That would be fine and much appreciated, as I said. I don't tour anymore, so my ministry, as you know it, my ministry is almost always online now. So what you see is what you get. This is my ministry. Some things I do that aren't online, like private sessions, but for the most part, almost everything I do is here in the public, and I share it as best I can, and so your support is appreciated. So you can do that through the Foundation for Christ Consciousness, or if you feel any other means of helping, that would be great. Your prayers and great wishes of love are also greatly appreciated. So God bless you all on your path, and I pray that you join us soon. We'll be seeing you, and remember to join us for the 12 Holy Nights, Days and Nights of Christmas, starting on Christmas Day, which is past, but you can still go and watch it. You can still go watch the video and keep up. You can just do your best to kind of hold in consciousness the first few days that we've done until now you're seeing this. We've done, I think, 3 days already. So just go back and watch them, and also do the day that you're currently on, kind of doubling up for a few days until you're caught up. That's what I would do, so that I don't miss out on it. And then just apply it, okay? Watch the video that we're doing Christmas, that we did Christmas Eve. I get these days all switched around. On Christmas Eve, we did the talk. So watch that. If you have trouble finding it, just let us know and we'll lead you the right direction. But that's featured on YouTube, and I think Facebook, and I think even Unity's website, Unity of Sedona's website, I think features a copy of it. Watch it, take some notes, get involved and catch up. And if you're on my Facebook group, Friends of Michael Mirdad Facebook group, you'll be able to do the course with us each day, the lessons, the astrological implications and so forth each day through the 12 holy days and nights of Christmas. All right, thanks for your patience. Bye-bye.